Whether it's your first time here or you're a regular here at Mr. Super Oz, I just want to thank you for tuning in to the channel. It exists because I, Oz, from the channel Mr. Super Oz, I wrote a 68-page graphic novel called Everlasting Survivors. Volume 1 is called All Day Long. If you follow the link in the description of this video, you can get yourself hats, shirts, posters, all kinds of fun things. But most importantly, you can get the story itself. And the more people that pick up the story, the greater the chances are that there can be continued adventures with these heroes. Thank you. After that open rolls, enjoy the video. If you could, give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment. Enjoy. WWE ECW from July the 25th, 2006, Episode 7, Bodies with Paulie Dangerously Lying plays. We're in Detroit, Michigan. It looks packed. Mike Knox and Kelly Kelly begin the show in ring. Mike plays all of the so-called highlights of Kelly taking off her clothing, but that's also so-called. Kelly is unimpressed, and she is, I don't know, she's like sad in quotations, I feel like. Knox then has the truck play Kelly getting caned by Sandman, and Mike is pretty good at being manipulative. This is very much the best segment with either Mike Knox or Kelly Kelly. Unfortunately, they are doing a rematch from last week. Sandman comes out to face Mike Knox. Taz says this is not an Extreme Rules match, and it blows me away. This show thinks booking gimmick matches then non-gimmick matches is a good plan. Usually, you do it the other way. You start with a nice, clean contest. Something goes awry. You get that adversarial energy built up, and you work your way into the no rules match. But this is the second time that they've done the unnecessary twist where they have the no rules match before they have the rules match. Because when Sabu wrestled Steven Richards on Saturday Night's Main Event, it was a no rules match, and then they wrestled on ECW and it was a rules match. I'm like, well, I don't understand what is going on here. But I have a feeling Sandman, much like Sabu, is going to be treated like he's dumb or uncaring, depending on how you want to look at it, about the rules, because he got his cane, but Kelly is trying to protect Mike because, I mean, sure, why would she not want to protect the guy who's been completely impolite and unkind to her? Hey, a new twist. Test came out to help Knox, so Mike gets disqualified. They are really leaning hard into the DQ finish, and I'm sure that the ECW faithful fans, just like myself, do not like it. Why do they keep booking non-ECW wrestlers to challenge Big Show for the ECW Championship? This week it's Kane, but he's no less non-ECW than The Undertaker from last week or the Ric Flair from the week before that. It almost, to me, feels like that Vince is intentionally being mean to the audience, because the ECW crowd will get on the side of an ECW wrestler. However, they're not even trying to be nice to the crowd that they supposedly restarted this show for. After the show goes to break, Mike Knox and Test are talking, but Tommy Dreamer takes them out with a trash can. And while also in the back, Paul Heyman tries to talk Sabu out of challenging the Big Show. Paul explains how Big Show is going to destroy Kane, and Heyman says that the match between Sabu and the Big Show can't happen, and Sabu has the night off. Paul calls out Nunzio, even though he said nothing, and then his private security beat down Little Guido. Nunzio, the same character. And Paul tells him his match is next. I don't understand this Paul character. I really don't like this Paul character. If there's anybody on this show who should be playing up to the crowd, it is Paul Heyman. Like, you can have Big Show be a pro WWE guy while holding the strap. That's okay. But why have Paul Heyman be an anti-ECW guy while being the man who brought the company to its prominence? We get another pointless CM Punk explanatory promo saying, who he is. But the important thing is that it ends with him saying next week he debuts. And to that I say finally. Because he is potentially the only or one of the very few of the what they call new breed that feels like they could have fit well with the original ECW. Because, well, speaking of finally, Kevin Thorne is having it's a so-called match since that security folk that beat down Little Guido Nunzio, they drag him to the ring and throw him in, and Kevin Thorne destroys Nunzio. They keep saying he is a follower of vampirism, which is such weird wording. I don't understand this show. Joey says, I know this is ECW, but the ref should stop the match. Come on. That was for sure Vince McMahon talking through Joey Styles. It just had to be. Thorne wins with a razor's edge. Ariel comes in the ring and seems to be doing the Kelly level of so-called dancing with her rubbing her and Kevin Thorne. Oh, great. They think we need a hype package to explain Kane. How stupid does this company think we are? And I don't mean ECW, I mean WWE, and more specifically Vince McMahon. After returning from the break, we get another pointless The Reject Shannon Moore non-talking promotional piece. And then Balls Mahoney comes out to take on Just Incredible. Two ECW originals going at it, Styles says. Joey tells a fun story about Balls Mahoney getting banned from amateur wrestling for punching a referee as a kid. This match not being Extreme Rules seems like such a waste. Justin is a former ECW World Champion, but in WWE he is basically just enhancement. This might be the most offense Just Incredible has gotten since the relaunch of WWE's ECW. The match is two originals, but they just don't feel like people who matter in this setting. And I don't mean that to be mean to Just Incredible or Balls Mahoney. Like, the fans are chanting Balls on the regular, but what I mean is, had the show from the start allowed actual ECW wrestlers to win, like a Just Incredible, or had Balls Mahoney from the start and he was a winner, then maybe these folk could have been the ones who were challenging Big Show en route to Sabu getting his pay-per-view shot, because I'm sure that's what they're actually doing when they say, oh, Sabu can't wrestle. Big Show is just saving it for the pay-per-view. I hate this disqualification, all these people losing by disqualification. I'm never introducing normal matches on Alpha Entertainment Worldwide's ECW, that's for sure. Because it's so counterproductive. Like, you can have wrestlers. ECW had it all the time. Taz was a wrestler's wrestler. Shane Douglas wasn't like a flaming tables guy. He was a wrestler's wrestler. Rob Van Dam, while he did incorporate chairs into his offense, he was mostly just straight up wrestler. And so my point is, you don't have to have all of the matches have a crap finish just to, I don't know, just because you can. That's so infuriating. After the stupid finish, Big Show questions Paul Heyman about why he can't wrestle Sabu, and Show says just okay when Paul tries to explain to him, and it's all pointless. And it gets even worse when after this conversation, they play a hype package for Sabu. Are you expecting me to believe that Paul Heyman both tells the Big Show that, oh, don't worry about Sabu, he's nothing, and then also, oh, I love him so much, I'm gonna play a hype package for him. I don't get it, and it's not even like it was even that great. They then hype up the return of Kurt Angle for next week, and I was like, man, that sounds like next week's gonna be a pretty stacked show with Kurt returning and Punk debuting. That's when it hits me that next week is actually the show where the crowd at the Manhattan Center tell WWE everything they think of this relaunch, this second chance of ECW. Why is this show structured this way? Kane's Pyro is always cool. First time in ECW, well, duh, Taz. Kane is very much not an ECW guy. Like, I don't understand why Big Show keeps getting the challenger entrance. Both these guys they're just lumbering, and it feels very not ECW. Because even in the original ECW, when they had big guys like a Mike Awesome, he didn't wrestle like a big guy. He wrestled not like a big guy, like Chris Jericho didn't wrestle like a small guy. Kane can be agile, that's for sure, but this version is a heel, and he's not exactly giving his most athletic performance like he does when he's a good guy. And also, it's a heel versus heel match. Like, this Big Show is in one of the worst conditions of his life, physically, I mean. So, I don't know. Paul Heyman comes out to check on his hand-picked ECW champion, and it's all so weird. Big Show's bloody, and Heyman pulled the referee out when Kane looked set up to win, and then Kane eats a chair shot to the head, and Big Show wins. Sabu ends the show kicking a chair into the Big Show's face, and the crowd is happy that they got a homegrown talent to close out the show, which again it just goes to show how little it would really take for them to just please the audience. Put the person they like in the ending slot, and the crowd cheers. Overall, I guess it was fine. Like, they didn't have the stupid Sandman spot with a so-called joke. They didn't do the stupid Kelly spot, which was never all that to me. So I give it a 3 out of 5. It's fine. WWE ECW August the 1st of 2006. This is episode 8. The tribe of extreme has risen again. Let the bodies hit the floor. Please be true to ECW, because we are live and sold out from Midtown Manhattan in the Hammerstein Ballroom, New York City, New York. Please be worthy of this venue, this beautiful, traditional, awesome venue. The setting looks right, but when they show that the main event is Dave Bautista versus The Big Show, I then dread, because I remember what the crowd will do. It also looks like it is an ECW, so Extreme Championship Wrestling, world title match held under quote-unquote non-extreme rules, which is the dumbest thing they could possibly do. Are they seriously only doing one Extreme Rules match per episode? Because after talking about the title match, they then state that the Extreme Rules match is a tag team match. Up now, Sandman and Tommy Dreamer versus Mike Knox and Test. Sandman looks so right in this arena. I mean, so does Tommy, obviously. They recap all of the Kelly, Mike Knox, and Sandman drama while Sandman busts his own head open with a beer can. This might be the place that this entrance looks the best. I mean, either that or it's the beloved ECW arena in Philadelphia. This episode is so memorable due to the fans' chants, and one of which is change the channel, but thankfully you're not going to get that here on or during this match because Test looks like $1,000,000 and he and Mike Knox are very promising, but Kelly comes out with them and the duo are very overshadowed by her, and this relationship just makes no sense. The commentary team also, they tend to agree with me that they don't understand the relationship between Knox and Kelly. The crowd is electric, and they love the ECW originals, which is extra great when the people they're taking on are the heels. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a simple formula. If you just make the people the crowd love the good guys and the people the crowd hate the bad guys, and you have them wrestle, oh my goodness, it's a winning formula. But you don't put two people the crowd isn't into against each other, like last week when it was Kane and Big Show. You don't put two bad guys that the crowd is not going to get behind against each other. Dreamer and Sandman are so over with this crowd. They want tables, and Tommy and Sandman give them a barbed wire, not table, but piece of plywood. So they're like, all right, we'll take that instead. Sandman and Dreamer try to suplex Knox into it, that plywood covered in barbed wire, but Test saves Knox, and Dreamer is, oh man, he's bleeding so heavily, and Test is actually covered in Dreamer's blood at one point. Kelly constantly protects Knox, and it's just so ridiculous. Sandman throws her in the ring and beats Mike up up the ramp. The crowd is chanting for Kelly to show herself off, and if she was true to her character, she would be all into this and oblige, but she never does because her exhibitionist, I like to get naked character is all make believe and whatever. Tommy spanks Kelly with his his blood on his hand, and I don't know, it's weird, and it gets extra weird when Paul Heyman's personal security come out to beat down Tommy. The crowd is chanting to Paul Heyman that you sold out, and Dreamer is sent through the barbed wire plywood. It's nasty, but then it gets even more insane when Test comes, picks up the scraps, and then drives Dreamer through the leftovers of the barbed wire and the broken wood all over again. Then Test wins with that spin out cutter TKO move that Mark Arrow used during his Marvelous run. So this very extreme ECW match see Test, who should have probably gotten a push earlier in his time, winning, and then it also has Paul Heyman, I don't know, getting the cold shoulder from the ECW originals after the match. Nunzio, Roadkill, Danny Doring, Steven Richards, all these guys, they're too scared to talk to Paul in the back because he turned his back on his guys. But Sabu is seemingly getting that RVD top spot on the show because he's the one ECW original who's not afraid to stand up to Paul Heyman. And the Big Show is a long-term investment. That's what Paul tells Sabu. And it's so weird to me because we're protecting the Big Show from Sabu while also having the Big Show face Ric Flair, The Undertaker, Kane, and Batista. It's very dumb. I mean, I guess it shows just how dangerous that madman of Sabu is, supposedly, but I don't know, just pretending like he's more dangerous than these top guy names just feels weird to me. Speaking of top guy names, CM Punk has his final backstage promo. He says, "Tonight, the wait is over. His time is now." And supposedly up next. But they've often lied to me about that, so let's check and see. Just Incredible is in the ring with that jobber spot, because that's how Vinnie Mac sees him for some reason I don't understand. And I feel bad for PJ Polaco. I don't know. I just think that he, especially at this time, he had more to give, but whatever. CM Punk is welcomed like an original, and I wish that more people would have been used on this show that made sense like he does. Hey, and thanks for not lying to me when you say up next and you actually give us what you said is next. Taz says, "You could say Just Incredible has the home field advantage, but the crowd is clearly on the side of CM Punk. This crowd absolutely knows him from Ring of Honor and TNA. He did such good work, especially in Ring of Honor, my goodness. His TNA stuff was a little light, but, it still wasn't bad. I really wish that Punk would have signed with TNA for this relaunch. I mean, we'll see what happens with his current WWE run, but I just think it would have been interesting if he'd have signed with TNA, giving them that boost. Just Incredible goes for a variation of the Three Amigos and then gets Punk in a single leg crab, but the audience, it just keeps chanting CM Punk. These two are working well together. Punk hits his running knee and bulldog combination, but no GTS. Punk wins with the not yet called Anaconda Vice. It takes over a year and a bunch of missteps before Punk is the ECW top guy. The show hypes up Batista, then teases the title match. We then get a redundant reject Shannon Moore on a Subway video. So it's not Shannon that makes these things bad, but just the lack of quality. He doesn't speak. He just looks funny in public, gives people dirty looks, whatever. It's all pointless. Something that I thought was, amusing is the Brooklyn Brawler showing up in Manhattan, standing in the ring. He's getting that very Sandman's gonna beat you down type of feel, and then we hear that the only Olympic gold medalist in ECW history, although they should have said wrestling history, Kurt Angle, comes out, and it's probably going to be a squash, but I look forward to it. This is a very unexpected pairing, the Brawler and Angle. I really preferred this version of a squash match over the one that Sandman did, because it's not making fun of wrestling with a zombie or Macho Libre or that fake preacher gimmick. This really wasn't even a match. It was just Kurt being awesome and intense, and he wins obviously because he's Kurt Angle. Great. Big Show gets a hype package as if he needs it. I mean, my goodness, this is his 4th title defense. He's been on the show since the start. It's the 8th episode. Like, why are we hyping up? I don't understand their choice in video packages. Ariel and Kevin Thorne get a promo in the back, and they're making out. So cool or whatever. Up next is the Big Show versus Batista for the ECW title, and for some unknown reason, Big Show continues his trend of coming out as the challenger. Hey, I see Vlad the Superfan in the front row. That's pretty cool. The audience chants RVD before Batista even comes out. And the cool thing is, they're not immediately against Batista, but when a fan tries to get a high five and Batista snubs him, multiple fans begin flipping him off, and he gets overwhelming boos. Yeah, this This match even gets toilet paper thrown at it in the ring. But this is all before the introductions even happen. "You both suck" is the first chant from the ECW crowd. And then after they come back from the break, ECW loyalists chant "Sabu." The the Big Show cuts a short promo on the crowd, and it's mostly just him expressing how mad he is at them. Now the audience is saying "boring" and "F this match." I'm sure Vince is not happy in the back. Either that or he's very amused because he's such a wishy-washy type fella. Are Batista and Big Show even going to wrestle? Because the majority of the time they're just standing around. And then the crowd says we should riot, which, I mean, A, they almost are on the verge as it is. And B, Vince really should have thought better about booking this show for this crowd. I mean, did he not even watch One Night Stand or One Night Stand 2? I don't know. Here it comes, the chant I've been waiting for. Change the channel. Taz pretends the crowd wants the show, ECW, to change channels. And then he puts over how much Sci-Fi and ECW get along. Because, hey, this is Vince's words coming through people's on commentary's mouth. Because Taz, he then jokes. He says, ECW fans, they may start cheering for the referee. And honestly, since it's Scott Armstrong from the famous Armstrong family, Bullet Bob Armstrong and Road Dogg Jesse James, Brad Armstrong, I wouldn't be surprised or blame them for that. I love seeing a franchise Shane Douglas shirt in the front row. Again, if Vince would have just given the ECW crowd an ECW wrestler to cheer in the main event of the ECW show for the ECW World title, they would have been happy. Big Show intentionally gets himself disqualified because that is the crutch that this show leans on. Sabu comes out and the crowd gets what they want. This episode isn't good, but it's so fun, the crowd being on fire. And the audience got a taste of that ECW they love by having Sabu close out the show. So in the end, I give it a fine 3 out of 5. It is so intriguing, this trip down, I don't know, memory lane, if you will, and seeing what choices Vince made for his version of ECW and just showing off all the things I will ensure not to do for Alpha Entertainment Worldwide's ECW when it relaunches. Because, why would you have Extreme Championship Wrestling and have Extreme Championship Wrestling's top title defended, or only title in their case, in a regular rules match? It's just so ridiculous. Thanks for listening. Thanks for stopping by. Like the video, comment below, share with your friends, and come back and enjoy other content from the channel. Later.